All right, guys, the real prize of this compensation is this ridiculous prime legendary pick selector card. So in this video, you can see there are 15 options. There are 7 legendary lord heroes and then 8 of the best legendary heroes in the game, including an unnameable, a lord rate hero, Ajax. This is crazy. So many people are reaching out to me asking who they should pick. I want to take you through all the scenarios. I'll give a general tier list of it, just like going through, I think, the priority, assuming you had no one, kind of. But the overarching thing, and I'll put this at the beginning before we do the Hex intro or whatever, you got to pick someone you don't have. You know, Awakenings are amazing, but this game is about securing base copies, filling out the Pokédex, in my opinion. So, like, if you had all these heroes except Venoma and you don't have Cyrus, you should take Venoma, right? I firmly believe that. But we're going to get into the nitty gritty and answer all these questions. Who should you pick from this crazy piece among our giant package of crazy rewards? Let's claim really quickly. I'm not going to make my selection. At the end, I'll tell you my plans. I'm not going to make my selection, though, but we are going to see who I get from this random legendary. So let's claim and let's see. Well, I got a Lord. That is going to be A4 Twinfiend, but if you don't know, I have A3 Twinfiend already. It will become A4, but 2 of those Awakenings are Soul Stones. So for me, I have a reset book back from the Boreas debacle. I will be able to reset and get 2 Soul Stones back and still rebuild Twinfiend at A2. Kind of crazy. We'll take it. It could have been a Aracha or something, but we'll live. That is going to be my pretty darn lucky free random legendary, but one of these things isn't random, and that is your prime legendary pick card. Who should you pick? Let's get into it.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
Very quickly, you will see I have my A3 Twinfiend up here, and then right over this shoulder, this is the one we just got. Some people are having an error that when they claim the rewards, they are not getting their free random legendary. Moreover, some people, when they do their pick, their free prime pick that we're about to take you through, they cannot see that legendary. Just restart the game in either situation, and it will appear. Let's find our card now. Here it is. Let's click use. I am going to probably click later, but you can see these are our options. We've got 15 of them. I want to keep it fairly casual. I'm going to go down this list, tell you my gut pick on all of this. Then I'm going to give you my essential order, assuming you had no one, and then we'll go through a couple situations, right? As you will see, the heroes behind my head in that row, they kind of keep glitching. I make note of it that heroes are jumping from the end to the front and stuff. Elowyn just doesn't show up. So as I went through them, I didn't see Elowyn. She's obviously the top choice. More about that in a second. So first off, we got King Harz. King Harz, you know, as much as he is a meme on my account and I've pulled him 5 times, is a very valuable lord. Northerners are one of the strongest factions in the game and one of the very strongest PvE factions, which obviously you need PvE for all progression in this game. If you want to succeed in player versus player, if you want to succeed in arena and guild wars, you need to have done a lot in player versus environment, you know, not player versus player stuff, and actually be dominating your gear raids and your gear dungeons, your guild bosses, so on and so on. For so much of that stuff, Northerners are amazing, particularly the non-boss content, and Harz is the best lord in the game for almost all of that, even better than his ancient counterpart, Elder. I would certainly not take King Harz if you're also missing some of the other like superstar lords I will shout out, because Isolde is very good as the epic normal lord for that faction. But if you're missing a Northerner lord, you already have the likes of like Torodor and Aracha, maybe even Twinfiend, then you can think about Harz, but I'll get into it when we put it in order. Torodor, I think, is the definitive best choice if you don't have him, even better than a Hex or a Silas or a Twyla or something, an Ajax. Personally, I believe because you're going to get Nightmare units, there's so many good epics and so many free-to-play legendaries you can acquire. Torodor is such a dominant legendary lord for progression, and then certainly for late and endgame content. He will carry you, and then when you have the heroes, you will succeed. He's really vital, and right now, there is no ancient exclusive equivalent for him, so he stands alone as this completely dominating force as the legendary Nightmare Lord. I think he's the best selection here. You know, Silas can change your account more, especially if you already have Vierna, but this is an opportunity to get a free legendary lord. These guys have completely minuscule rates. When there is no rate up, right, they have a 0.04% chance to drop on like a 15x banner or a non-rate up banner. On a 2x, that's still only a 0.08% chance. That is 8 times in 10,000. I mean, think about that. And that's the good situation. He's the best of the bunch of the lords, and I think you should always or almost always be grabbing a lord from this. For Aracha, I do think she's going to be the next best because she's going to help you in both PvP and PvE. She's huge for progression. Huge caveat, if you have Yovar, do not touch her. I think there's no reason, even though she has been buffed and there's a couple pieces of content, she's a little bit better than Yovar. Yovar's so much better in general. It does not make sense, obviously. And in general, I would not take a lord of a faction you already have another lord from. So like if you have Cyrus, obviously you're not thinking of taking Venoma. If you have Soul Cadence, you're not thinking of taking Twinfiend. I hope that's clear. But you'll see Aracha is very, very, very high on our list. Now we've got Morrigan. For progression, there's not so much crazy AoE stuff we need to clear in this game, and she is the lord of the AoE faction. I will say for a lot of content, Morrigan is better, like similar to Hearts and Elder, not as extreme, but she is better than Demi, her ancient exclusive counterpart. So she's a nice option. If you're still progressing through the game, she can really help. But overall, I think as a hero, she's fairly underwhelming. The only place she really can excel right now is in fairly late in endgame Guild Wars, which I find niche, and that's coming from someone who actually uses her there. So I think if you have any of these better lords as an option, you should pick them. Morgan's probably right in the middle towards the lower half of the middle of these normal lord options. Twinfiend is huge for Guild Boss 1 and can also help you a ton in Guild Boss 2. If you do not have Zeala 2, there's no reason to even consider Twinfiend in my opinion. Pyros will be just as good. You need to take advantage of that focus fire, and to get the best effect, you need Zeala 2 for it. Twinfiend is mostly a boss killer specific stuff. For progression, he can do a lot of things. He's very middle of the pack. He's someone you take if you have, like we were talking about, all the other ones, but you're missing an Infernal Lord. So you already have a Torodor, an Aracha, a King Hearts. Then maybe you think about a Twinfiend. Venoma is the worst of this bunch, in my opinion, of the 7 lords that we've got over here. I don't know why it goes Ajax, then Laya. Ajax gets lord rates, but he's unnameable. But you can see, of these 7, not counting Ajax, so we got Laya through King Hearts. I think Venoma is the worst choice. For general progression, she has a very cool Lord skill that everyone gets an initial deployment rage boost for their ultimate. That's powerful, but you outgrow that so quickly, I don't find her very relevant. Raiden is fine as an epic Lord. Cyrus is such a huge upgrade over Venoma, you'll just immediately retire her once you're in the game a little deep at all. I think Venoma is who you take if you have Ajax and the other 6 Lords, then you can take Venoma. And I would say Venoma is probably the only one, maybe even for me personally, Venoma and Morrigan, that like if I didn't, like let's say I had Vierna and no Silas, right? Silas and no Vierna, I actually would probably take the other member of that Vierna-Silas bond over Venoma. The other ones besides her and I would say Morrigan are not the case. You can already see the order coming into view. Ajax, I'll tell you right now, is very likely who I am going to take. Supremely rare hero. Can help you in a ton, especially from his Ancient Blood, I believe it's called, his special like unnameable passive that gives a general damage boost to the whole team. He's like a Ditto. He can join any faction and count as one of their faction members, just like you merit. These dragons are really cool. He is, I would say, in endgame and stuff, pretty niche, that he's mostly just for Guild Wars and then some arena PvP stuff. But for me personally, I'm drawn to him because I've gotten away, lately I got Torodor, right? And, I guess we just got another dupe Twinfiend. I'm filling out my lords a little bit, but I've survived for oh so very long, with only epic lords. Like I'm between Ajax and Aracha, I'll tell you, but I think I'm more leaning Ajax because I've been fine with Eliza and Lunaria. Aracha for me would immediately be retired if I got Yovar. Ajax is so rare to get because he has those lord rates. He's so helpful in PvP, which will help me on my account without affecting my content and making my content feel even less accessible. So I think personally for me, Ajax is a great choice. And I'll finally say he has amazing awakenings. I like all 5 of his awakenings. So I wouldn't feel bad about picking him and then getting a dupe. Whereas if I got Aracha and then I pulled her the next day, I'd feel pretty bad. But you'll see, I actually have a plan on when I'm pulling. And I think some of you, if you want to make it to the end of this video, might want to take a page out of that. Laya is a tremendous choice. Watchguard has had a big, big glow up. She's amazing in Guild Boss 2. Fabu uses him on his #1 in the world APOC 2 team, over 400,000 mech fragments. I use her on my more modest 155k team, but she's phenomenal. I really like her. She's one of the #1 lords in the game, ancient exclusive or normal, available from ancients only or any of your summons. That is good in so much content, not as a lord. Just as a hero, she's super powerful. She's got a big rage boost. She's got a damage boost. The heals are solid and multi-target. I really like her. She's got a very expanded, unique range on her ultimate. She's a really, really nice hero that you'll get a ton of use out of. Even if you have Ingrid, you could still be getting a ton of use out of Laya. So Laya, I really love. Silas, now if we go over here, is, in my opinion, by far the obvious choice of our non-Lord options. We just did Ajax, our unnameable, and the 7 Lord options. Silas is the number 1 option by a mile. If you have Silas and you don't have Vierna, then Vierna becomes the number 1 option by a mile, because bonded Silas is still completely triple S, like one of the best, if not the best, still single target boss slayer, or just any single target slayer in the game. It's so essential. It's so powerful. That is what your priority should be. If you're not going for Lords, not going for Ajax, you feel like you're all filled out there, you go for that bond. It's going to be a huge progression boost. But I still think, and we'll go through the order very shortly, but I would only put him or Vierna, I would only call it completing your Silas bond, whichever one you need to pick up. And obviously, if you don't have either, then you pick up Silas. I would only put that over of the Lords and Ajax over Venoma and Morrigan, personally. I already talked about Vierna. Vierna is a hero herself. I do not think is worth it for this at all. Unless you need her for Silas's bond. She is awesome, but it's just AoE is not such a crazy thing in this game. Hex, I definitively believe, is going to be the second best option. It's between him and Twyla, in my opinion, but he's super duper versatile. Well, it depends on your account, but I think for most accounts will be between him and Twyla. This is assuming you already have Silas and Vierna and the bond done. Because of his piercer range, because it extends, because he's a platformer, because he's so good to begin with, and then when you get his exclusive, you get the Twyla bond, maybe, you get some awakenings, he just goes and goes and goes, and by the time you have him at like A3 with his exclusive and bonded, he's looking like as good as Silas, right? It takes much more luck and investment, but he's that good. He's the second best person for me here, I think. Twyla, in my opinion, I'm very partial to boss content. She's unbelievably good in Guild Boss 1, unbelievably good in Guild Boss 2, will carry you past thresholds. She's so potent, even at a 0. That's where you get your best and most reliable rewards in the game. Rewards like this are because there's a crazy bug we found, right? This doesn't happen all the time. What does happen all the time is Semra, Apocalypse 2, Guild Boss 2 rewards every week, and Guild Boss 1 rewards every day. She will help you more than anyone here with that, sincerely. You all have Wrath at the very least, so she's phenomenal for that. Boreas is amazing. I still think Comet's better. I have A5 Boreas, who, like, in certain things is way better than Comet, but there's a lot of content where they're making enemies CC immune. So for general progression, Boreas is unbelievable. You run him with a Mari or an Eye to get extra freezes. It's fantastic. But personally, I think there's enough other ways to get AoE and help you progress. I think AoE is not as valuable as single target in this game. I certainly wouldn't pick him unless I had like everything else. Not to say he's bad at all, right? Now we got Magda. She is phenomenal. She is unique. Her passive is completely overpowered. I don't know why hearts came to the end here. That's kind of a weird glitch. We're seeing double hearts, right? Is it not letting me see? What is that? That's so weird. Glitchy thing. They had to throw it together. They had to throw it together quickly because we kind of were about to break the game in half with this news, right? Magda's our final one. She's really good. She's getting a banner next week. So if you're thinking of pulling on Magda, how about you wait until after next week's banner and see if you just pull her normally? She's great. Again, it's AoE. It's a little niche. She's not as versatile as someone like Valkyra, who's like another big AoE magic damage fighter melee unit. I like her. She's not on the level of a lot of these other ones. Theoretically, you could have like all these other heroes except for like Magda and Boreas, or like Magda and I guess it'd just be Magda and Boreas. Then I would probably take Magda. Again, this is not to say Boreas isn't good. All these heroes are phenomenal. It's a prime legendary pick for a reason. But I think there's no reason. And if you're tempted, just wait for next weekend and try to hit one legendary, and maybe you'll just pull her anyway. And then you can use this for a Silas dupe or a Torodor dupe or whatever you want to do. So let's put this thing in order. For the Lords, I think to me it is quite clear. It will be account dependent, but overall, what I would say is it goes Torodor, Aracha, Laya, King Hearts, Twinfiend, Morrigan, Venoma. That's where my heart would be. Ajax stands alone as an unnameable, but I think he's as valuable a choice as a lot of these Lords, depending on your account. For the non-Lord heroes, so for the non-Lords, the whole list you're about to hear is everybody after Elowyn. Elowyn is so decidedly numero uno if you do not have her. I truly, firmly believe she is the single best hero in the entire game, full stop. What she enables you to do for progression, but then the late and the end game is unmatched. It is far too versatile and overpowered for this game. She stands alone in a class of her own. She is number one. Priority is, do you have bonded Silas? So if you don't, but you have Vierna, you grab Silas. If you do have Silas, but you don't have Vierna, you grab Vierna to get Silas's bond skill. Then I believe it's slightly account dependent, but I would go Hex, then Twyla, then Magda, then Boreas. That is my order. I'll put both those up on the screen right now. We'll have our Lord lists. Ajax is in a group of his own. He won't be there. And then we'll have our non-Lord lists. If I'm doing this whole thing raw, the order I would go, you have nothing, excuse me. Like you just started and you just lucked into this crazy reward, right? For the combined list, once again, everybody is after Elowyn. We start with number 1, Elowyn, for all the reasons I stated. She is good at everything in PvE, everything in PvP. She enables top meta strats across all content in the game. She is unrivaled. She is the queen of Watch of Realms, number 1. I would still go Lords. There would be some changes, right? But essentially what I'd be looking at is I go Torodor, Aracha, then I would probably go Silas. You don't have anyone, so Vierna doesn't matter because you don't even have unbonded Silas. Then I would go Ajax. Then I would probably go Hex. Then I would start filling out these remaining Lords. I would go Laya. We'll go King Hearts. We'll go Twinfiend. Then I would go Morrigan, Twyla, Venoma, and then finally I would do Magda. I probably would do Vierna just so you're ready when you get your Silas. So I do Vierna, Magda, Boreas. So there you have it, guys. We're going to glitch on the right again. I hope that really, really helps a lot of you. We're going a little bit more casual today. Today's a crazy day, but I also wanted to give you like my full thought process that was important to me. I'll put that final list up here again with everything in order, not them separated by Lord and non-Lord. And I'll tell you, I'd tell you at the end, my plan, I'm going to sit on this. Like, why would I use this now? If it's not going to help me push through content immediately, like I'm in a unique situation because I'm fairly deep in this. Why would I do it? This isn't going to expire, right? Next week we get a Magda rate up, right? Who knows what I pull this week? Who knows what I pull on Christmas? Until I feel like I need it, like, oh, I need that Aracha to progress, or I need that Ajax, and I definitely am leaning towards Ajax. I don't, I'm a patient dude, right? I'm just going to sit on it. So that's where I'm at. I really hope this video was valuable. A lot of people are posting videos like this. A lot of people are not acknowledging why this reward even exists, but very happy to make a video that gets views using the reward. It's pretty wild out here. It's a crazy time in Watch of Realms. The final video today, the third video today, will be going over the bug report I actually made and showing you how bad this really was with the scripted summons. So look forward to that. I really hope this video helped you. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Fastidious. If you like my stuff, please like it. We also just passed 20,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed yet, come join us over here. Share it with your mother. I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.